Hey guys, I'm here. I'm just going to be downloading some stuff, and I'll be back in about 5 minutes. I know that computer clocks are saying 3:57, but my classroom one's saying 3:55, so I'll use that one for getting on. So we'll be 5 minutes till we start from now. Okay guys, I'm here and I'm online. We're going to get started in about 1 minute. So if you can make sure you've got a calculator, that'd be very helpful. I'll open up the chat. There you go. And today is going to be a big review. I'm going to put my hand down now. Today is going to be the beginning of our review. We have a test next week on Wednesday. So the review is just going to go over the kinds of things that might be on the math test next week. So it's probably best to have a pencil, paper, and a calculator with you. It's probably a good thing to decide to do for each one of the classes. Can everybody hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me, or hand up, one of the two. Good, okay. So we're going to move on. And I know that we've been having some problems in the classroom this afternoon with the internet speed. So I don't know if that will affect you at home. It usually doesn't, but I may end up sounding like Bullwinkle or Minnie Mouse, one of the two. I either slow down or speed right up. So if that's the case, you'll just have to just put up with it or sign off and listen to the video. But it won't be any better on the video anyhow. Okay, so here we go. We're starting a review today. So let's take a look at the first one. We're going to estimate a percent. What is 48 out of 52? So what benchmark would you use for that? Stephen says 2. Okay. What do you mean by that, Stephen? You guys can use a microphone, you know, if you've got that capability on your computer. No, nobody's answering? I just finished them. You can divide them by 2. Or you could even multiply them by 2. I'm thinking that would be a better idea. So we can multiply them both by 2. So we would say that's kind of like 48 out of 50. Are you guys hearing me again? Okay. 48 out of 50. So we would multiply those both by 2. So what's 48 times 2? Anyone going to do the math? Type it in. Here comes Caden, 96. Good. So it's around 96%. Actually, that's really good. Now, what about 7 out of 10? 7 out of 10. So how do we make 10 into 100? Oh, you can't use the microphone? I gave audio permission on. Just a minute, I'm going to just see. Oh, that is my fault. I didn't set it with enough. Now you'll be able to use the microphone because when mine's on, yours can be on only if I've set it a different way. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we multiply by 10. So in this case, 7 out of 10 equals what out of 100 then? $70. Excellent. So we're going to multiply both by 10. I'm just going to put a big by 10 there because I can't get it in. I wonder why I've got green, but it will. It equals 70 out of 100. Now we know that 70 out of 100 equals 70% because percent means out of 100. And I keep harping on that because I want you to remember that. Some people today didn't seem to have that part of it figured out. All right. What about 29 seconds out of a minute? How many seconds are in a minute?
60.
Excellent. 29 out of 60. So what benchmark are we pretty close to here? What benchmark are we pretty close to? What are our benchmarks? 50. Excellent. So our benchmarks, if we remember, the ones that are easy to do, 10, 25, 50, and multiples of 10. All right. So in this case, 29 out of 60, well, that's pretty close to 30 out of 60. And 30 out of 60 is a benchmark because it's 50%. All right. You can divide that into 1/2. If you divide them both by 30, you get 1 out of 2. So we know that 50% is 1/2. Everybody got that one? Any questions about it? So if you're asking to estimate the percent again, we're going to multiply these ones by 2, and we've rounded, so that would be 96 out of 100. If we rounded the 52 to 50. I always forget that people are coming back on later to watch this, and I want to make sure that we've written it down there for them, because they can't ask questions. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Everybody seems okay with that one? Estimation. Now, we're going to figure out by estimating what the tip is for each dinner bill. So what is the difference between me estimating and me whipping out my calculator and multiplying the bill by 0.15? What's the difference? You can use a video, the microphone if you want.
Estimating isn't exact.
Yeah. So why do we estimate?
It's easier and gives you a general idea.
Yeah, it does. So then if we calculate something and it's way off, we can think, well, just a minute, that doesn't make sense. Like it was somebody today was trying to do their discount for the $59.99 shoes, and the shoes were going to cost $283, so we could figure out right away that wasn't much of a discount. All right, so what would we round $28 to? Who can give me that? Oh, a whole bunch of people said 30. Okay. So now, there's 2 ways we can do this. What are the 2 ways that we can calculate that estimation? Manmeet's typing madly. The first thing we can do is we can figure out 10%, and then we can figure out half of 10%. Okay. How much is 10% of 30? Yeah, it's 3. And how much is half of 3? When we're talking money. $3.
$1.50.
$1.50. So we add those 2 together. How much is our tip going to be? $4.50, says Jasmine, and she's right. All right. So now we're going to take our calculator. That's the other way we can do it. Somebody put that on there. It was 15%, 0.15 times 30. And you'll see when you do that it ends up equaling $4.50. So both ways are the proper way to calculate that, and neither of them are more right than the other. Some people always say, well, what's a better way of doing things? But not in this case. Any questions about that? We're going to clear that page off, and then we're going to do 62. All right. So tell me something quickly. On the $28 bill, will you be giving a little bit more of a tip or a little bit less of a tip than 15%? If you give them $4.50. Yeah, Stephen's right. We're going to give them more because we're basing it on an amount that's slightly more than the bill. So you have to be careful when you're doing the $62 one, because what are we going to round that to? What are we going to round the $62 to? Manreet's right. We're going to round it to 60. Oh, look, I got a different color. Excellent. All right. And then we're going to figure out 15% of that. So we could do the 10%, which is $6. And then half of that is $3. So our total would be $9. And I'm trying to put all of my dollar signs and decimals in the right places. All right. The other way we could do it is $60 times what? The decimal equivalent of, yeah, it's decimal 15, which is excellent. And if you do that, you'll find that you get $9 as well. Now, if you've had exceptional service, is $9 actually 15%?
No, it's less.
Yeah, it's less because we're basing our $62 bill down to $60. So that's one thing you have to look at. The other thing that's really interesting, and I've had this conversation with lots of adults as we go out for dinners and stuff, is now the government charges 13% on your bill, and people often pay the tip on the tax. So it gives the server a wee bit more too. So it just depends on the way that you do things in your life. So I'm going to clear that page. Everybody getting how to calculate those two things? We can use our benchmark of 10 and then add a half of that, or we can multiply by decimal 1.5. So that's 15 out of 100. Excellent. Good. Discount. Now, what two steps are needed to calculate a new price when a discount has been given? Can somebody come on and tell me? Just talk through it.
Multiply and add, or subtract.
Multiply and subtract. And it's really important that we remember that it's the subtract part that we do. So some of us got a little confused and added a discount on today, and that made the item more expensive. So a discount is always making something a little cheaper. So the regular price for my sweatshirts this week was $49.99, and they were on sale for 40% off. So I said, what price did I pay before taxes? The question that has come up an awful lot in the last week or so, and I like this question because it shows people are thinking, they said, can we round that off to $50? Well, in Canada especially, you probably would, and does anybody know why? Does anybody know why you would round from $49.99
Because of the
to
pennies.
$50? Yeah, we don't actually have a penny anymore. So unless you were paying with your debit card or Visa, you would make sure that you rounded it up to 50 anyhow. All right, so let's multiply that. Let's figure out how to do that. What is my benchmark that is easiest to use for $50? Okay, the easiest benchmark to use, of course, is 10%. What is 10% of $50?
$5.
$5. All right. So if it's 40% off, what do I have to do with that $5 to find out my discount? I'm giving you a hint here. Times, for 40%, it would have to be 10 times 4. So it's 5 times 4. Thank you, Jasmine. And so the discount is $20. How much am I paying for those shirts? This is where the problem was today. A lot of people were telling me they're going to pay $20 for those shirts, but they're not. What are they actually paying? Yeah.
30.
So Jasmine, thank you. Jasmine says 30, and so does Lauren. So it's 50, and then we take away the 20. That's the discount. So the sale price is $30. So we talked about, I'm going to put my dollar signs there. Only one on the top, because I can't manage it anymore. So there we go. $30 for that sweatshirt. Seems like a heck of a deal. Nice black sweatshirt, my favorite color. And so the price I paid before taxes was $30. And then of course I had to pay 6% sales tax on that in British Columbia. So I ended up paying more than $30. All right. Need to move along because it's already 4:13. What is the system to calculate taxes? Okay.
Multiply then add.
Multiply then add. Thank you very much. That's awesome. So we're going to multiply by the tax amount, and then we're going to add it to the cost because a tax always makes an item more expensive. So we have a 60-inch widescreen TV at Best Buy for $599. And this is a trick that retailers use. They don't try and make things $600 because it sounds more expensive, so they'll put it on for $1 less. Or they don't want to make something $50, so they put $49.99. And it's just a little trick that they play with you, so it sounds like it's cheaper. So let's say that our widescreen TV is $599, and the sales tax is, does anybody remember? In BC, what's the BC sales tax? %, says Manmeet. So let's not worry about GST today. We'll just worry about the 6% sales tax. So two ways we can calculate this. First one is figure out what is 1%. Now, if I move my decimal one place for 10%, how many places do I move it for 1%? 1%, remember, our decimal equivalent is 0, 1. So I'm going to move it 2 places. All right. So what is 1% of $599?
$5.99.
$5.99. Good for you. Now, all I have to do is multiply that by 6. But because we've got the penny in BC, no penny in BC, we're going to make that, I'm going to go up to the top here, $6. So that's as close as you're going to get with real money. $6. And I'm going to multiply that by 6. So what is the total amount of provincial sales tax that I'm going to pay on that?
$36.
$36. That's an awful lot of money. So now instead of being $599, my actual cost for my TV, total cost, is $635, because I have to add that on, right? 630, oh my goodness, I'm really messing up there. 635. So you could do that on your calculator by taking your $600 and adding on 36, okay? $635. Man, Reed had the right answer. Okay, moving on. This is a quick review today. You can tell me what it means to get a raise at work. Man Reed's madly typing. Some of you are being awful quiet today. What does it mean to get a raise at work? That's right, Stephen. You get more money. All right, so we have this dude named Felix, and he works at a lumber yard, and he makes $16 an hour. Now his boss is telling him that he's so awesome that he doesn't want him to quit, so he gives him a 10% raise. That's a pretty good raise, by the way, when you're making money. So how much does he make per hour after the raise? It's important. This is one of those two-step things again. So some people have got this one, messed up with this one a little bit. When I move this over one place, my decimal over one place to here, my total is $1.60. All right? Now, $1.60, is that what he's making? Jasmine's so fast. Okay.
It's not what he's making, it's what he's getting added on to his paycheck.
Okay, good. And Manreed's given us that answer. So she said $16. I'm trying to make a zero. That looks good there, but it's not. Plus $1.60, and we can see that now he's making $17.60 an hour, right? Which isn't bad for a kid working in a lumber yard. All right. So that is what he makes per hour after the raise. So if you're writing a test and it asks you that, it doesn't ask how much his raise was. It asks how much does he make per hour after the raise. So make sure you actually read the questions like a detective. You don't want to be reading something else. All right. Here's my question of the day. This is where I'm going next Tuesday because I won tickets to the Canucks game. So Rogers Arena holds 18,000 people. And remember, this is our homework one, so we're not going to put the answers in. If the game is 60% sold out, how many people will be in attendance? So if you ever go to a Rogers Arena, they always announce this, what percentage of the tickets are sold. So as soon as you've got that copied down, you are welcome to leave unless you have some questions for me. Thanks for coming today, you guys. Bye, Manreed. Bye, Lauren. See you, Stephen. See you, Ned. See you later. Bye, Lexi. Have a good night. See you, Jasmine.